Hey guys, it's Rachel. It is Thankful Thursday, and this week Jen has come up with a new rota for us, and from what I've seen, it's all to do with kind of like self-compassion, caring for yourself, and taking that emphasis off illness, whereby all you do is beat yourself up about everything, and moving on to slowly taking steps towards being more gentle with yourself and having more respect for yourself, being able to move away from the idea of failure, being worthless, being a waste of time, giving up, to actually recognising progress and the positive things that go on. And today especially, well, this week, we're going to be looking at the early stages of recovery specifically, and I guess it could apply also to periods of relapse, and it could apply to all the way along in recovery. But this particular video is going to be looking at specifically early days of recovery and going into recovery, and the periods of time whereby we're trying to deal with behaviours, we're trying to manage behaviours, we're going in and out of using behaviours, we are trying to stop certain behaviours but accept that, well, this video is about me trying to get you to accept that it's not perfect. You can't make a decision and completely change it. You can make a decision to completely change something and it be a process, and that's what we're going to kind of look at. I want also for you to think about changes in behaviours, in the sense of if you're in a position where those things have been taken away from you, whether you've been taken into hospital or having very intensive treatment, that the idea is for you to stop using a behaviour, and how even though you're not using the behaviour, all of those same, not emotions because you use those to numb that, but the same feelings in your head, you know, changing your mind is going to be a lot quicker than gaining some weight or stabilising your weight or upping your intake or stopping yourself from purging or starving or what have you. And it's more about the psychological side of it. So what is triggering for you to binge, for example? What is triggering you to want to lose weight? What are the things that are triggering you to do those things? And to accept that you may still use those behaviours, but in your head you're trying to make a difference with them. And what you often find happens is that, especially with eating disorders, I think, and I've noticed, is there can be progress made physically. And I'm going to actually say the gaining weight, losing weight, staying the same weight, actions such as self-harming, things like drinking, drugs, and all sorts of behaviours that we can manage to destroy ourselves with, they may be tamed, and that can be done like on a personal level, in the sense of I did that eventually at home. It can be done within a hospital where you don't really have much choice but to be eating, to be gaining X amount of weight. And what we need to understand, what you need to understand, what the people around you need to understand, that although those things are changing, although maybe there has been a significant improvement in behaviours, what goes on inside a person's head is a hell of a lot more complex. And I've certainly been in a position where I've tried to gain weight and it's just sent me completely crazy because I wasn't dealing with the emotional side of it. I do come from sort of the school of thought that you can only really start to deal with what's going on when there has been some sort of stability. I don't think that you can therapeutically work with somebody on a complete spiral. I'm not saying that you can't be there for somebody. I'm not saying that friends can't be there, or if you're a therapist or I'm a facilitator, I can be there. I can unfortunately watch what's happening and I can support. But it's a very different type of support than the type of support you'd give to somebody who is trying, in the sense, to move forward by dropping behaviours and moving towards that, compared to somebody who's very much lost and is kind of rapidly deteriorating. just because they're rapidly deteriorating doesn't mean you should walk away from them. It doesn't mean that I walk away from people. It's taken me a hell of a long time to find that balance between that being very, very painful for me to watch, to being like, well, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for and I'm going to feed back to that person the positive things they're doing. So if I've got somebody who is pretty destructive and using a lot of behaviours, I will discuss the behaviours, but what I try to do is step outside of that. And it's that same kind of thing, really, that those behaviours are obviously destructive, and yet there is going to always be something positive, and it can be the smallest of things. And I think for me, it's about pulling that out, about saying, well, look, actually, rather than just like having, like, berating you for not achieving what you should have maybe, or I don't like the word should, or what was expected of you or you expected of yourself, at the end of the day, you are trying. And that's what I repeatedly tend to say to people. I have high expectations on people with regards to their recovery, because if I recovered, I believe that other people can. And so I am very forward, I am very honest. And yet I have to be careful that that's not taken the wrong way, because the whole topic of this video is to do with you not holding it in a oh, well, I couldn't even do that right, I failed. Well, you've told somebody about it. Maybe it's happened, but it's happened. You know, at the end of the day, when it comes to removing behaviours, all you can do is try. And so you can eat a meal, for example, and maybe this is, hopefully it's not too explicit, but an example for me would be trying to eat a meal, crying into my food, literally sitting at the dinner table crying into my food. There were two parts to me. There was a part that felt like failure if I didn't finish my dinner. There was a part that felt like failure if I did. Okay, and so then it's resisting those urges to purge. And it's about sitting with it and saying, right, do I tell anybody about this, or do I just go and do it, you know, or should I try and tell somebody? And it's about that process of, even if you wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you still do it, that's progress from, first of all, not even being able to sit at the table to eat, but to give that some time. So if I've got somebody who's saying to me, well, look, I've managed to do this, I can say, well, you did that. You need to think about how positive that is. And what I often encourage, before necessarily people can change their behaviours, if they've come to me and they've come in a mindset where they've said, I want to recover, I don't expect them magically by tomorrow to have just stopped all their behaviours. They may carry on with their behaviours for months. And I've seen that. I've seen behaviours go on and on and on. But if you've got somebody who's saying, I want to recover, I want to recover, I want to recover, I want to deal with this, I'm sick of being this depressed, I'm sick of feeling this way, even if they're continuing with the behaviours, there's progress in the sense that they're trying to make changes. And that's something that you, for yourself, has to be really, you know, patient with, and the people around you have to be really patient about it. And you need to try and explain to them as well as you can, whether that's through writing it down, sometimes that's just easier, or show some of the videos that us as a team have made. We've made videos for family and friends, that this is our process. The biggest thing that I got when I was getting better is, well, you're a normal weight and you're not hurting yourself. Why do you still need to go and see your psychiatrist and your therapist? And it's like, well, because that's when I do all the work. You know, the practical work comes first. The practical element of keeping yourself safe, of getting rid of the things that could hurt you, putting things in place so that you don't purge when you've had a meal, having somebody help you with a meal, having someone help plan you with something, and not criticise, to have people around you who are not critical of you. You can have worry. People are going to worry about you, and you're going to just have to accept that. When you're early in recovery, people are going to worry about you. People worry about me now, and it drives me absolutely insane, and I want to scream at them, but I know they're doing it because they care, and that's what you have to try to do. If somebody is on, I'm worried, just try and maybe sit down with them and just say, look, I'm giving myself a hard enough time at the moment, and I know you're worried about me, and I know you love me. I just need you to back off, because I'm doing my best with what I have. And what that then is doing is trying to build up a trusting relationship, So I get to the point with, say, my mum, who's been one of the biggest supports in my recovery, who was the one who helped me with food and making dinner for me and making sure I had all my meals and my snacks, my ensures and what have you, was for her to slowly build up trust for me, so that if I ate with her and then came upstairs, that she had to trust, she had to sit there herself and be like, right, I've got to trust that Rachel's not gone upstairs and been sick, okay? And slowly over time she did begin to trust me, and actually trusting me made me feel better about myself, because if I was not achieving what I thought I would, or feeling like a failure because I messed up, or whatever, the fact that somebody trusted me I could hold on to. And it tends to make you more honest, which again might cause more worry, but being honest with somebody and open about it, at least it's some sort of, it's being said, it's not just all being kept inside of you, because there is absolutely no point in you going into recovery being like la-di-da-di-da-di-da, keeping everything inside of you waiting for it to explode. I would rather you sat at a table and cried into your food than just had it and pretended that everything was okay, because it doesn't work like that. It actually does not work like that. I wish it did. I wish it worked like that for you. Eating food, keeping safe is going to bring emotion with it. It's going to be frightening, it's going to be scary, it's going to make you all over the place, but that's because you're not numbing them down in the ways you're used to, numbing them down through not eating or comfort eating or making yourself sick, or the element of sort of over-exercise and getting away from everything. Even things in terms of behaviours which might not be feeding your body, in terms of behaviours like not weighing yourself as often, not spending as much time in the mirror, getting rid of things like tape measures, cameras to monitor what you're doing, getting rid of diaries in terms of writing down what you're eating, and taking away some of those aspects and thinking, I know you can get apps on all your phones now, and trying to live without those things. And that doesn't mean you're not using behaviours, but again, you've got to be realistic with yourself, and you've got to try and step away from something, so that every few days, every day if possible, you can say, well, actually I managed to achieve that. And I think that in itself is massive. And another thing that I see, because obviously I'm involved online and people have Tumblr accounts and Twitter accounts and all the rest of it, is to maybe open a different account that has more positivity in it. You have the comfort of your account, which is maybe more negative, but having something that when you're feeling better you have. And so that in itself is a step. You might still be using all behaviours still, but you're making steps, and that is in terms of making peace with yourself and feeling okay about yourself. It's to say, do you know what, I'm trying, and that is all I can do. It's all that everybody can do. It's all I can do when I'm feeling like shit or bouncing all over the place. I just have to try to be able to look at what I have achieved, because it's very easy to just see what you've not achieved. And it is about maybe getting pictures out that bring back good times. It's about listening to the music that makes you happy. It's about doing things that make you happy, whether that's writing, taking pictures. If all you do is the one thing you start doing again is writing or taking pictures or sketching or drawing, and that's all you can do with regards to taking steps towards recovery, that's better than nothing. And it's going to slowly move forward from there. I have spoken really, really fast, haven't I? I've just realised how quickly I've spoken. And I hope that has been of some reassurance to you, because that's what I really wanted from today's video. And I wanted to also say that I can completely connect, because I am dealing with mood disorder, and you know, it's shit. And it's very easy for me to feel really badly about myself and like nothing's going to change. And it will change, and things do change, and nothing stays the same. And you've got to have hope, and you've got to have faith, and you've got to let people love you and you love in return. And you've got to be able to laugh, and you've got to be able to giggle and be a bit sarcastic and take the piss a little bit, because all of those things are going to really, really help you get through. And there's certainly things that have helped me. Okay guys, bye bye. Oh, and as my top says, what does it say? Never give up, stay strong. So there you go. You can have a little reminder from my top. Okay, bye.